Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing well. It's been 2 weeks since you've seen me. That wasn't the intention, I promise you. I thought the book that I'm here to review, I would get done in like a week. But unfortunately work got in the way, and it's been a really intense couple of weeks with work, and also I had to be in the office 3 times this week, so I've been running around a lot this week. I've been really tired, so I'm just like, sometimes you just got to deal with what's on your plate, don't you? So I would have liked to have gotten this to you a week ago, but it is what it is. Before I move on, I just wanted to say, in case you didn't see my most recent video where I talked more spoiler about the Hallmarked Man, I opened it by saying a great big massive thank you, and I'm going to say that again now, because I have, in the course of the views and everything of my non-spoiler review of the Hallmarked Man, I got over 1,000 subscribers, and that was really quite shocking and overwhelming to me, just because this is just a hobby of mine. I don't ask for people to subscribe or anything like that. I'm not a social media YouTuber who needs the numbers, who's looking for revenue and all that. I really hate it when YouTubers constantly say or have flash up on the screen, subscribe, tick the button, comment and all that lot. It really bugs me. And when I encourage people to comment, I want people to comment about the book that I am here to review. So I'm just, it's just, I just can't believe there's over 1,000 people who want to hear me babble on about books. So thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed recently as well as in the past, and anyone who's commented, who's liked one of my videos, anything. Thank you so much. It means the world to me. It really brightens my day when I saw that happen, so thank you. But anyway, let's get back to business. I am actually filming this at 7:45 in the morning because I need to, and my hair is wet and it's really bugging me, so if I keep touching my hair, I'm sorry, it's just bugging me, because I need to sort out my laptop for Windows 11, and I'm like, look, get the priority out the way, get this filmed, get this uploaded, then deal with that. Because if my laptop goes a little funny, then it hasn't screwed up you guys seeing this video. So there we go, that's my priority. And the video is a review of Colorblind by Catherine Cookson. So my history of Catherine Cookson goes back a few years, where I got into watching the dramas. I bought myself the DVD box set of all the dramas for my birthday, and then I started collating various books of hers, and my sister very kindly gave me her massive collection of Catherine Cookson books that she was actually about to take to a charity shop, so I inherited those, and I've inherited other Catherine Cookson books over time as well, and this, I believe, was one of the ones that my sister gave me, and it is extremely worn and falling to bits, so it's been rather delicate for me to read. I didn't take it when I had my days in the office this week, because I was like, oh my god, this is going to fall apart in my bag, I can just feel it. So it stayed at home, and I've just been chipping away at it over the past couple of weeks. I'm here to talk about it. So what is Colorblind? Colorblind is a book that I think Catherine published in the late 60s. I will just confirm that. 1968 to be specific. So yes, the late 60s. And it is set in the north of England, just as all of her books are, but this time in the early 1900s is when it begins. And Bridget McQueen, she is from an Irish family, live up north, and she has been away from home, and her mother receives a letter from Bridget to say, I'm coming home, I've gotten married, I want to introduce you to my husband, etc. And her mother is over the moon. Bridget is now Bridget Patterson, and she's like, oh my god, oh god, is she going to tell me that she's pregnant? I could just sense it, really excited. And then Bridget arrives at her family home with her new husband, and everyone is shocked to discover that her new husband is black and Bridget and the McQueen family are white. And they automatically assumed that that her husband, James, was white because of his name, James Patterson. And it gets revealed that how he was adopted and he got the family name and all that lot. And that's how he is an African man. But yeah, that's how he got that name. And Bridget is revealed to be pregnant. And of course, this Northern England, 1900s, multiracial couple, and everything that's going on at that time, as well as just generally how society reflected on people of different races. You can imagine that it fuels a lot of racism, and this is that this book is really focused on. Bridget and James have a daughter called Rose Angela, and various events see the family completely pulled apart, and it's about Rose growing up, having to deal with the racism around her and trying to understand the world that she lives in and such. And there's various mysteries and such along the way, as Catherine does in all of her books. So as you can imagine, going into this book, I knew this story already because of the drama. As I mentioned, it's one of the ones that was dramatized. It had been quite a significant amount of time since I had seen it, so I couldn't remember all of the aspects of the story when I went into this. I have to say that the drama for the racial tones is toned down compared to the book. Now, I'm not saying that the racism in this book is too much or something, because to be honest, I've read far worse in other books, but it's just sometimes the language, it just comes completely out of the blue. And of course, especially now in our society and such, there are certain words that we do not use, which are used freely in this book. But again, in this is Catherine reflecting and using language that would have been perfectly normal to use in the time that the story is set. So just be aware of that. In case you do read this book, you are going to come across some colourful language that may make you uncomfortable. But of course, because this book is about racism in society, of the story and how Rose Angela navigates that throughout the course of her life, those elements are going to be there. It's inevitable. But so just so you know, in case you do pick up this book, that you just might come across some things that make you go, ooh. But that's all. I do respect Catherine for writing this book. I can't think actually of another character in books that I have read where it's been specifically stated what their race is. I mean, sometimes you've had like the occasional character who might be described as having olive skin or something like that, but it's rare and sporadic, you know, kind of thing. She doesn't tend to talk about race and such in her books, apart from obviously this one, because it's very clearly a plot point of the story. But yeah, you know, it's quite interesting actually, thinking back over Catherine's work, how many characters of different races she has had in her stories, and it's really not many that I can think of. But then again, as I said, Catherine doesn't tend to talk about the race of her characters, so it could well be that she imagined some to be of different ethnicities, and it just wasn't explicitly stated. I don't know, but then, it's the choice of the author. Is also, possibly some the publishing houses as well, the publishers might have something to do with that. I don't know. And also it is that thing that sometimes it's just a case of perhaps Catherine and other authors may do this as well, where they kind of use like terminology such as saying like olive skin or whatever to imply but not explicitly state. So it could be that factor as well, that in this book it is very explicitly stated the ethnicities of various characters, because it is a driven plot point. Now with this book, I did like it, but I didn't love it, and the same goes with the drama. I mean, I'll watch it, but it's not like one of my favourites. I can't even remember where I ranked it in my ranking video of the various dramas. It's an enjoyable story, but it is a heavy story. As you can imagine, because of the racism and such that is within it, it is weighed down by that. But also reading this, and also with watching the drama multiple times, the more I look into this, the more I'm irked by Rose Angela's love interest in this story. Because, okay, he's an artist. He's very interested in the world. He sees like beauty in like weird, just like random things, like a bit of wood or something, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But then he's very much, I'm gonna buy you a jewel because I want people to know that you are mine. I'm sorry, what? It is just like, he's like very, very much like, not possessive, but it feels like she is his property. It keeps on getting kind of drilled, and I'm like, is this meant to be a love interest or the signs of a very, very toxic relationship? It was, the actual relationship between Rose Angela and her love interest, it's concerning. It's concerning to me. So because of that, even though I did love various elements, various characters, even though some characters are so friggin' evil and racist scum, I do love how Catherine forms them, how she makes them so real and such. And so even though they are horrible characters, they are completely authentic and real to the human existence. So yeah, I'm like, well, I have to give Catherine praise for that, for giving realistic evil people from this story. And I suppose there's also, in a way, but it completely different, but in a way she has brought some of her own life experience in, to do with like the bullying and such that Rose Angela has from childhood. Now, obviously, racial bullying and the bullying that Catherine experienced are two completely different things. But that thing of, because in case you are not aware, Catherine was raised to believe that her mother was her sister, and there was a lot of poverty in her family, and kids can be cruel and horrible. So she experienced a lot of horrible bullying and such because of that. And so she was able to bring that kind of childhood bullying and loneliness and feeling that she is a terrible person. She must be a terrible person because of what kids are doing and saying to her. She was able to bring into this story. But of course, as I said, the children in this story are doing that to Rose Angela because of the fact that Rose Angela is mixed race, rather than the whole situation of Catherine's home life. So I do like that Catherine, in her own way, was able to bring some of that experience of bullying and hatred that she had felt from other children from her childhood into this story. But yeah, they are two completely separate different things, obviously. Now, the overall pace and such and realism of this story very much made me think of the 15 Streets. I really, really love the 15 Streets, and actually I have a feeling, I can't remember, but I have a feeling it also had my copy of the 15 Streets had this like yellow cover from 1970s as well. So it's upstairs. I'd have to double check after this. But yeah, the Colourblind and the 15 Streets very much reminded me of each other. Because of that raw realism and the daily struggles. Not that her other books don't reflect that, but especially with this one and the 15 Streets, you feel like we survived the day, let's go to sleep and see if we get through the next, that kind of daily weight to it. And as I said, to add to that the weight of the racism elements of this book, this does feel like a heavy read for a 200 and some page book. But the overall story, I mean, I like it, but then at the same time, it's not Catherine's best for me. It feels a bit, what's the word? It feels uneven. It feels unsteady. I kind of feel like if she had, because it's not a long book, if she had more room to play with it, I think she could have had the flow of the actual story and the particular topics that this covers could have had more balance to it. Sometimes it felt rather rushed, like we're going at 100 miles per hour, and I'm just like, can we just slow down and just sit in this moment just to get that? And I think if she had more of that space, I would have understood more about Rosangela's love interest and why he felt and acted the way that he did. It just feels a bit unbalanced. And yeah, it's good, but it's not great. The characters are well put together and realistic, but at the same time, some of the things that they do baffle me. It feels very realistic. It feels very natural. But at the same time, that there are things, and I go, really, it just doesn't feel. It's there, but it's not there at the same time, and that's why I'm like, it's okay, but it's not great, and I can't quite put my finger on the particular reason why, because it's like every single thing that I think of, I find the negative. I think of a negative straight away, and then I think the positive, not the other way around. So, yeah, it's got the goods, but it's just not quite there, and it ends rather abruptly as well. I get why, given everything that happened and all the stuff that goes through. At the same time, it just feels like, is that really the ending that you're going to give us after going through all of that? It doesn't quite sit right, the ending. It's an ending, it's a good end, whatever, but it's just, it doesn't have the satisfaction that I would like. I don't necessarily see that Rosangela is going to go on and just be completely happy in her life and everything. There's just something that's just not quite sitting right with this one with me. And I don't want to say it is a bad book, because it's not a bad book. As I said, the goods are there. It's just not quite balanced. And so I have that dissatisfaction feeling before I have the positive feeling. So yeah, it's just a little off for me. So yeah, it's a good book. It's got, as I said, some language in there that comes out the blue that you might feel really quite, and violence you might feel quite uncomfortable with. It's got interesting characters. The plot's not too bad, but overall, it's just unbalanced. It doesn't have a satisfactory ending for me, and yeah, there is some questionable things that happen in the course of this book that I just, it's a bit odd. So those are my thoughts on Colourblind by Catherine Cookson. Time to ask my usual questions. Would I read this again? Yes, but it wouldn't be one that I would, if I was like, I'm in the mood for Catherine Cookson, I'm going to overlook this book for something else. Just because it's not my favourite Catherine Cookson, but that won't stop me from reading it again. I'm just aware that when I do read this again, I'm not going to be satisfied as other books that I do read. Would I recommend this to anyone? I think so. Look, if somebody is interested in reading a Catherine Cookson book, I'm not going to say, oh, don't read this book. I just would recommend other books before this one. It's, as I said, it's not a bad thing, a bad book, a bad read. It's just a bit dissatisfying with certain elements of the plot and the ending. But I will say that if I do recommend it to someone, that there could be some language and violence in there that racially motivated, which some readers may find uncomfortable. But again, it's language and such that at the time that the book is set is deemed normal. Would I read any more Catherine's books? Well, yes, of course, because I love her. I think she's amazing. And actually, my next reads are Catherine Cookson books, so there we go. So those are my thoughts on Colourblind by Catherine Cookson. If you read this book, I'd love to know what you think. You can leave me a comment in comments below. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, tell it you decide. And I'll back my thoughts with my next Catherine Cookson, which is actually a trilogy. It's the Tilly Trotter trilogy. Now, I've got 2 more weeks before my 2-week holiday, and I'm going to be in York for a section of that holiday. So I'm going to try and read the over 1,000 pages of the Tilly Trotter trilogy before I go on holiday. So don't expect, because I want to review it all as one rather than each individual. So I won't be back next weekend, but I will, fingers crossed, the weekend after with my review of the full Tilly Trotter trilogy. And yeah, and we'll see how it goes. So there we go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you when I see you, hopefully in a couple of weeks' time. All right, everyone. Bye.